Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As I'm sure you all know by now, on September 30th, Nintendo dropped the Halloween update, which introduced pumpkin farming to Animal Crossing, as well as lots of spooky pumpkin-related items, and of course the actual Halloween event happening on October 31st. So to celebrate this, we are building a very autumnal pumpkin patch featuring a small tool shed and a market stall. This might not be the most ultimately aesthetic farm, but that's because I wanted to maintain an element of practicality with this space. We have a lot of DIYs to make, and the other colour variations of the pumpkins are kind of rare, so I wanted to maximise the space I had while peppering in a few decorative elements. I think that this patch has room for about 30 plants, which when they are watered every day can yield about 90 in total every 4 days. I'll be making a video in a few weeks where I'll be dressing up my island for Halloween, so I'll be needing a lot of pumpkins to make all the DIYs. If that video sounds like something you'd be interested in, consider subscribing so you know when it will get posted. So I started off by clearing some more space in this area that I'd already designated to be a small farm. As you can see, I'd already moved Hazel's house here, as I think that it looks very rustic with the orangey wood siding and the red timber roof. Tidying up this area and fixing the path was all I did for the first day of this build, as the new features and items could only be obtained from October 1st, and I started recording on September 31st. The next day I decided to slightly expand the path along the top bank, as this was where I wanted to put the market stall later on. I annoyingly forgot to press record for the second half of this process, but I promise I did it. I then made a path connecting Hazel's front door to the main path. I'll leave the creator codes for every pattern I use in this video in the description down below. I also used these stones outside my village's front doors in the residential area build I made a few weeks ago. However, later in the video I'll actually swap out this pattern for another one that fit the colour scheme slightly better. Next, I moved on to marking out the pumpkin patch. I feel like indecisiveness was the theme of this build for me, as I'll change up how the growing zone looks quite a few times throughout this video. Next, I started playing around with this barbed wire fencing. Again, it won't stay, but I was inspired by the farm shown in the update trailer, so I wanted to try it out. Then I planted some orange tea olive shrubs at most corners of the patch. I'm really happy that these are in flower during October. The more orange the better at this time of year. Then I changed up the fencing again to be a mix of the country fencing, stone fencing and barbed wire fence. I liked it, but it still felt too disjointed. I think the height and width of them all was slightly too different for them to work together cohesively. Next, I opened the kiosk in the Able Sisters and downloaded some new patterns. These were some awning for the market stall, a fertiliser bag, and some autumnal leaf patterns. Once I'd customised the items, I started setting up the stall. I put down the ironwood sink, a cardboard box, and a barrel, which I think is strangely my favourite item in the entire game so far. Okay, so now is the point at which I actually fixed the pumpkin patch. I removed the barbed wire fence and decided to alternate the dark dirt with lines of light dirt. I think the thin strips of grass visible between each line helps break up the space a bit and to make it not just look like a giant blob of brown. I knew that when I'd done this, I'd cracked it. I surrounded the patch with country fencing, added the scarecrow, and that was pretty much the patch done until I add the pumpkin starts themselves later. So I wanted to use the little area at the back of the patch and to the left of Hazel's house for a decorative tool area. I started by placing the basic workbench, but surprise surprise, this doesn't stay. The next day, I went over to one of my beaches to pick up some flowers to add to the farm. I went for a mix of orange, red and yellow hyacinths, mums and cosmos. Then I decided to customise some more stalls with a wood pattern and place them together so that they looked like a shed. I think this looked so perfect next to the silo in Hazel's house. After adding a few more decorations to the area, I started laying down the brown leaf patterns around the apple tree just to fill out the space a bit more. I also put down an actual leaf pile on top of them. Then I customised a shop sign to be in the dark wood with this pumpkin patch sign on it, and I also changed the path leading from Hazel's from these stones to these wood warm planks. I skipped forward a few days, so my first harvest of pumpkins had grown, which meant I could add the final touches to this area. These included a spooky lantern rotated so that the face was hidden, as well as a few loose pumpkins dotted around to give some height variation. I really wanted to find this stack of pumpkins DIY to add to the left of the stall, but I didn't have it by the time I finished this video, and I didn't want to skip too far ahead. So these are the shots of the final build. I had so much fun making this area and playing around with the new update. I love these new farming mechanics, and I can't wait to see what other crops get added in the future. I'm going to predict that a few more get added in the update at the end of November for Thanksgiving, as we know that Franklin will be making a return, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Throughout October, I'll be taking a break from student and studying related content and just sticking to gaming, mainly Animal Crossing. So if you have any suggestions for videos, please let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. I hope you're having a great day and that I'll see you again soon.